It's that time of year when we look back upon 2025 and go through the top 10 Disney Cars releases from Mattel. Now, there's no sugarcoating it. This was one of the worst years in history. Don't quite believe me? Let me just tell you this one fact. There wasn't a single new release from any of the movies or Cars tunes. Let me just let that sit and resonate with you for a little bit. And you might think, well, Mr. Docketer, what about Masha Elswrench, the fiber fuel crew chief from Cars 1? Let's be 100% clear about that. She doesn't appear in Cars 1. The entire team of fiber fuel does not appear. And same thing last year with Mandy Frundemender from Team Taco Mint. Those teams simply were not animated into the movie. So it's just something that Mattel kind of spawned in, right? That's not something that appears in the movie. Then you have Jonathan Gearson. That was a Cars on the Road new release. So then everything else that was new came from Expanded Universe, whether it be NASCAR, Glow Racers, or Race and Rescue / Rally Race, which was in the main line. Now, I know Mattel can do better than this, and I like Race and Rescue, I like Rally Race, but when it's in the main line, taking up spots from what I know could be other new releases from the actual movies, it bothers me. It's like a few years ago, if they put the Fireball Beach and the Thomasville Expanded Universe lines into the main line and replaced cars like Kevin Riven, Transberry Juice Pity. You guys know the rest. I mean, Steve Herschel, Richie Gunza, all the new Cars 3 releases. They sprinkled in some Cars 1 stuff as the years went on up until about 2022. If all the Expanded Universe line was in the main line taking up those spots, well, that's what 2025 would look like, because Race and Rescue is now in the main line, GRC was in the main line, and they're all taking up movie spots. So this list was very difficult for me to form. And so I asked you guys if I had to go through the arduous process of creating a top 10 out of the 2025 slop. You do too, guys. Let me know in the comments below your top 10 releases, your top 10 cars from 2025 this past year. And hey, maybe you liked it all. That's great. It's completely fine and acceptable. I get it. It's subjective. I personally, being around from day one, this is just one of the worst mainlines. This is one of the worst years that Mattel has given us. And it doesn't look like it's going to get much better in 2026. But we'll talk about that when the time comes. So without any further ado, I don't have any honorable mentions because there was nothing honorable about this year. It's hard to even scrape together these 10. So let's get into it. Number 10, Race and Rescue, Morgan Martins. Now, I do want to make it clear that pretty much, let's say, all right, maybe the top 3 releases from my list here would actually make a top 10 in other years. Race and Rescue Morgan Martins, if you plop that into 2016, would probably be like a top 40 release, top 30 maybe. But the bar has been lowered, and so Morgan makes it here in 2025. I do like the idea of bringing him back. Again, he was a super chase when he was originally released, but this is a new paint job for him now. Apparently, he's supposed to be coming back with the regular paint job in 2026. We'll see what happens. The biggest problem is that he's downsized. He is downscaled because Mattel doesn't make deluxes anymore. So when Morgan was first released in 2017, he was a deluxe. So now he's a single. He's quite a bit smaller, completely inaccurate, but he still looks kind of cute. Fits the Race and Rescue vibe, unlike some of the other inclusions in that series. And so that's why he makes this list. Probably one of the more notable releases this year too, just from like kind of a superficial perspective. Like, oh my God, we got this ambulance, kind of like a deluxe. Not really. It's notable. Number 9, Rally Race Cal Weathers. Another one that you might be thinking, well, wouldn't expect you to have that despite, all your hate toward Race and Rescue and Rally Race. And yeah, I get it. But like I said, there's not much here that we're working with. And some of the stuff in the Race and Rescue Rally Race series was pretty solid. I think Cal Weathers was one of them. I love the blue and red combo. I love that they included him. those are factors that I consider here. The fact that he was in this line, not really seen much of Cars 3 stock cars over the last couple years. And so Cal's return is a big deal here. And they actually gave him a good paint job. Whereas I think Jeff Gorvette, Danny Swervez, not great. Cruz Ramirez, Jackson Storm, really not great. But Cal, pretty solid. Then we have Race and Rescue Red here. Another similar case to Morgan where he is downscaled, so he's not as accurate. But we have gotten the smaller red back in the day from 2006 to 2010. He looks good. He is one of the heavier cars, so you feel like you're kind of getting a bang for your buck. You might even feel like you're kind of getting a deluxe, which you're not, but we can pretend. So that's my number 8, Race and Rescue Red. Number 7 is Race and Rescue Mather. But I think slightly better because he wasn't downscaled and he still is holding his integrity. He's got a pretty cool towing contraption, a fancy big red hook. Yeah, there's actually some redeemable traits about Mather. And since we've seen so many wild, exotic Mathers over the years, it's not that crazy to get like a rescue one here. I mean, we already kind of did with a Rescue Squad Mather in 2010, right? So I actually really like this one. However, as I've said, would not make a top 10 list in pretty much any other year. Number 6 is going to be Jerry Recycled Batteries. The hauler just came out toward the end of this year, coming back in 2026. This is his 3rd release complete, 4th release total. The 3rd release was just the semi-cab, so this is, like I said, the 3rd release with the full trailer. The reason why he makes this list is because it is his first release complete since 2010. So it's been 15 years. The price had gone up incredibly. And it's a phenomenal look to bring back one of these classic, nostalgic, and iconic Cars 1 characters. Jerry is from that scene. McQueen, I ain't up here built. I ain't no Mac or whatever. You guys know how the line goes. So it's super iconic, memorable. I think a lot of people love to see this guy back. Even though it's his 4th release, technically, it does feel pretty monumental. And yeah, I mean, it feels like it's been a decade and a half since we saw the trailer. Like, that's kind of a big deal. Similar case here with number 5 being Chet Boxcar. Now, they spelled his last name wrong. You went Karr instead of Kaar. That's going to bother me until I'm dead. But the reason that Chet is above Jerry for me is because he'd only been released once in 2010 and then got the semi-cab release in 2017, but we're just really not counting that. I mean, it's just the semi-cab. This is the full hauler. But Chet was absurdly rare in 2010. Really didn't hit many stores anywhere in the world. And with Ben Krankelshaft as well, Oliver Lightload, all 3 of those guys, and even Paul Valdez a little bit, if any of those guys came back, they would be in this list too. They would be above Jerry. And I put them both pretty highly above Gil, just because Gil's a little bit more of a basic hauler. And we have to remember, Gil peg warmed for a couple years, 2009, 10, and into 2011. Like, Gil was around for a while. No one wanted him. I'm not saying like that really went into my decision, but like it's not as big of a release as these two. Chet, bigger than Jerry, just because of how incredibly scarce he was. This was like a $200 item that now you can get pretty reasonably. Number 4 is going to be Glow Racers Wingo. I can't believe I just said those words because, again, I don't think Glow Racers Wingo nor these 2 haulers would make my top 10 in any other year. I mean, we could look through it. I know there were some other bad years in there. I just don't think Glow Racers Wingo is top 10 worthy, except in 2025, where he's not competing against too many other folks. This is, again, Cars 1 nostalgia paired with a new twist that gets him here. I don't like that they included the flames. I think, the flame completely unnecessary. Same thing with the remote. We did not need the paint gun on remote. I don't know why we're releasing all these like accessory cars. Like, why are we doing this? Just release the normal version. Doesn't make sense to me. But Mattel's been shown, they've been doing that over the last few years, even dating back to some other Ramones where they released like Pixar Fest Ramone with the paint gun. What are we doing? No idea. But yeah, I think he actually looks pretty nice. He glows well. It's a cool sight back into the tuners. Wish they did boost DJ and Snot Rod. That'd be phenomenal. but at least we got Wingo. Although, to be honest, yeah, I don't know. I would definitely have preferred Boost or Stot Rod over Wingo. Maybe even DJ, but whatever. All right. Getting up to the top 3 here is where I do think Mattel cooked a little bit. Like, these are good releases. These are releases I think had a chance to be in a top 10 in most years. Maybe? I don't know. Rally Race Chick Hicks here comes in at number 3. Now, this is a tough spot for me. I like Rally Race Chick Hicks a lot. I think he's amazing. Beautiful paint job. You're bringing back a character from Cars 1, not traditionally in these Expand Universe lines. Like, we get the next gens, we get Cruise, we get a couple stock cars. We don't usually get Chick Hicks. We never really get the King. I would love to see those characters in some of these Expand Universe lines. And so by including Chick, I think it was a big step. And then they nailed the paint job, so it's a real twofer. I do think in most years this guy's going to be in my top 10. Now, the reason I have him at 3, all right, this is a weird thing for me. I put Jonathan Gearson here at number 2. However, I think Rally Race Chick Hicks would have a better chance to make any other top 10 than Jonathan. But Jonathan is ahead of Chick in this top 10 list because the value of a movie/show character has risen exponentially. The scarcity of movie releases or actual canon on-screen releases in 2025 has risen the value of Jonathan Gearson to stratospheric levels. Because whatever, is the only car in this list that's new that actually appears on screen. That matters. Now, if Jonathan was released a couple years ago when they were doing all the other Cars on the Road stuff, probably not a top 10 release because it's just a BMW with an earpiece. But that was in a different era when we were getting on-screen releases left and right. Here's a year where this is the only one. So everything's relative. If you put Chick Hicks, Rally Chick, in another year, probably top 10. If you put Jonathan in another year, probably not. But Jonathan is above Chick because you're the only movie release. That's all I got for you. And so who does that leave for number 1? None other than Masha Elswrench, a character that does not appear on screen, but it's a Fiber Fuel crew chief. It's a Cars 1 Piston Cup team member. In theory, that would have existed in the movie, does not appear, does not really exist, but makes this list. It's an uncancellation. That adds bonus points. In 2019, Fiber Fuel crew chief was canceled along with the Taco Man crew chief and Transberry Juice crew chief. Mattel has now worked to reverse that. The Transberry Juice crew chief remains canceled, but at least we got 2 of 3 for now. Things could always change, but I like the design. It's a really nice diecast. They corrected the wrong artwork that they debuted with, the one that matched Mandy Frudenbender from last year. They corrected that. That's a big win. And even though it doesn't appear, it's a Cars 1 release, brings back some of that nostalgia. Piston Cup teams always gets people going a little bit, and I have to admit, it got me a little excited to see her this year. Again, probably, if this makes, Masha would probably make most top 10 lists, but wouldn't be super high. But again, this was a very unique year, not a great year. And by unique, I mean not good. But what the hell are we doing, Mattel? I just have to say, what are we thinking with this year? I don't know. I'm just kind of awestruck in the worst way possible. But guys, let me know in the comment section below, who is your favorite release of 2025? Hey, maybe you thought of something I didn't even think about. Maybe you have the guts to say the Rally Race Chick Hicks Pity from that Crisscross playset. Now that would be cool. But I just, wouldn't make the top 10. It's a plastic piece. You got to consider that. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying the holidays. I'll see you soon for another video. Bye now.